Welcome back to Good Morning Oakcrest. We're having a wonderful conversation with Miss Karen Presley, who is an entrepreneur, businesswoman, and an author herself. She's telling us all about the process of becoming an author, and I know there are some published works out there that have to be published and published, I guess, rather. So she is here to tell us exactly how to do that. Karen, before we went to the break, we were talking about the process of becoming an author and getting your work into a book form, something like your book here. Now I want to talk about how we motivate ourselves to continue through this process, because it is a long process, right?
No, it's not a long process. You know, my first book was Living Holy in an Unholy World. I was always told that I was going to write a book. And I used to, whatever, you know, that was my attitude, whatever. And one day I went through my journal, because I've always kept a journal, and I heard God say, that's your book. The title was in my journal, and he said, that's your book. And I said, okay, if that's my book, you know, what is it about and what's the chapters? And literally everything flowed from there. And so I tell people, whatever's on the inside of you, you have to begin to center yourself. You see, for you to get your book out of you, you have to center yourself, first of all, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. A lot of us, this is the go generation. And just like the seasons, you know, we go from summer, spring, winter, fall, and even with every season, there is a different thing that happens in the atmosphere. Sometimes we're putting on clothes, sometimes we take off clothes. And so we have to adjust to the seasons out in the world, the same we have to adjust to the seasons that are in our lives. And so as it relates to getting motivated, I tell people, first of all, you have to understand, where are you? You know, because where you are today may not be where you were yesterday, last month, or last year. And so you have to begin to be sensitive to, if that book or that desire or that thought that doesn't leave you, then that is God just showing you, this is what I'm dealing with. And so you have to begin to make adjustments, because you're moving into a different season. So you have to begin to center yourself when it comes to, you know, this is my time to get this book out. You know, emotionally, you know, sitting still. I always tell people, sit still, because you can't go from boom, 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 and then all of a sudden, ooh, let me go write a book. You know, your thoughts are all over the place. So sit still, you know, center yourself, and then some of us need to de-pack our backpacks.
Oh, well,
you know, so
explain what that is, because I like it.
De-pack or unpack our backpacks, meaning some of us carry so much weight. We carry so many thoughts, we carry so much stuff on us, and if we could see in the unseen realm, some of us are like, you know, bent over. But in actuality, it's because we have so many things that we carry that we don't let go. So we have to begin to declutter our lives and unpack all the weight off of us, because anything that's weighing you down will begin to filtrate in your mind, and you can't really flow the way you need to flow. When it comes to writing a book, you're really flowing. And I tell people, when it's flowing, flow. When it stops, you'll know. But you also want to make sure that I'm centered, because this is the time for me to do this. Sometimes you may have to cut stuff back. Sometimes, you know, I was doing X, Y, Z. And then, you know, if you want to get a book out of you, then I have to begin to adjust my schedule in order me to bring forth. And I talk about, even when a woman gives birth, when she gets pregnant, you know, throughout the 9 months, she makes different adjustments in her schedule in order to bring forth what's on the inside of her, because what's on the inside of her will get bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, just like the dream that's on the inside of us, because everyone has a dream, but you have to begin to know your dream will get bigger, and those are the thoughts that stay with you that's not gone. And I know there are some people who are listening today like, you're talking right to me. There are some thoughts that will not leave, and that's the thing that's getting bigger, and you have to begin to make adjustments in order to bring forth what's on the inside of you, because it's not going to come by osmosis.
I've heard someone say, die empty. What do you think that means to you in regards to maybe writing a book or just birthing your dream?
Die empty? That's a good one. Because we do have to empty ourselves. I think sometimes we're filled with so much junk. Junk from our past, junk from life, you know, our journeys, different things we carry. Some of us carry things from job to job. And I tell people all the time, what seeds have been sown in us are bringing forth a harvest out of our lives. But because we're not sensitive to that, this is just me. So we go through the motion. We've conditioned our lives to know how to go through the motion. But when you begin to assess you, you will have to die to every negative thought. You will have to die to the person who said you'll never be, that you'll never do. Or you have to die to your own internal thoughts.
Yeah.
Because it's our own internal thoughts that stop us or hinder us from moving forward. And I tell people, anytime you're not going forward, anytime you're stagnant, that means you're not moving forward. But in actuality, you're never stagnant, you're moving backwards. Because God is a God of movement. He responds to movement. We were created to move. And so anytime we're not moving, we're actually going backwards.
And dying slowly.
Right.
Yeah.
And so dying to self, dying to the negative things that people have said. Some of us carry things literally from childhood. We can be 50, 40, 30, 20. We can be 60 years old and still carry things from our childhood that we never dealt with. And I tell people every time, anything you don't deal with eventually will deal with you. And so we have to begin to assess what's really hindering me. And only you can do that. What's really my opposition? You know, it's not mind over matter. It's facing the challenge head on and saying enough is enough, and die so that when you empty yourself, now Christ can rise up on the inside of you.
Wow, wonderful. Now, when we have gotten all of this together, we've motivated ourselves, we've gotten it edited, we've gotten our work looked at, what is the next step? Should we get feedback from folks that are around us?
You got to be very careful about that because we have dream killers. You know, I tell people, pray about before you begin to start telling people. Because even when you're in your writing stage, you don't always want to go around, oh, I'm writing a book. Because the very person who may say, what you doing that for? Could be could be the only thing you need to stop the process. And the reason why, because that thought just fed on something that was already in you. And so you want to be very careful about your season. When you're writing, go ahead and just write. When you're finished, ask God to show you who should I. First of all, you're not showing another friend. You're not just showing someone for the sake of what you think, because you don't care about what you think. If you know that you're supposed to be writing this, then it doesn't matter what you think, because I tell people when God puts something in you, he doesn't tell the world what he's doing in you. And so you have to know what God is doing in you at that time. And so once you finish the writing standpoint, once you finish and you get it edited, you know, by a professional, then you want to seek out a publishing company. That's when you want to begin to ask God, okay, well, show me where to go. Because sometimes even when we go on the internet, you don't know what you're really getting. And a lot of people have said what they liked about me so much was I can touch you. You know, I'm a publishing company in Maryland. And so it's like, I'm not on the internet. I'm not a number. You know, I don't have to wait for you to call me back.
In fact, you have to be careful about what you find on the internet too.
We don't know.
A lot of things out there.
We don't know.
Folks having you send in money and you're not getting.
I've heard some stories. I've literally heard some stories, and sometimes I be thinking like, did you get anything in writing? But sometimes people get stuff in writing. They still, I've literally heard some stories, and sometimes I'm so sad about what some of us are doing, whether it's on the internet or, you know, just people in general. But, you know, you had made a comment in reference to while we were on break, in reference to how do people get it seen?
Yes.
And I do want to touch on that just a little bit.
So from your desk to the shelf.
To the shelf.
Where people can buy it.
It starts with who you know now.
Okay.
Meaning, I tell people all the time, we all know somebody. We have our church community. We have our community here. We have friends. We have family. We have wherever you are. If you're
relatives,
a part of an organization,
whatever.
You all know somebody. And you start with who you know, because a lot of times what we don't do is we keep our mouth shut. And you never know who that person knows, because you may not help me, but you may know someone else who helps me.
Now, this is after the book has a cover on it. It is done. It's finished,
printed, and you got them in your hand.
Nobody else can say, "Oh, why are you doing that to delay you from writing?"
Right.
So it's already done. It's ready to be put on a shelf. So this is the moment that you can share this with everyone.
Right.
Okay.
In fact, you can share it when it goes to the publisher.
Okay.
It's coming soon. I tell people, talk your book up. It's coming. Build the anticipation. Build the anticipation for people. Build the excitement. Because at this point, no one can stop you. It's already at the publishing company.
Yeah.
And so build the excitement. Let them know, hey, I got a book coming. It's coming. You can even do marketing when you can do flyers to say, coming soon.
Yeah.
If you are internet people, you can start sending out e-blasts, internet. You can put a tagline at the bottom of your email.
Now, I know you said authors and writers should take responsibility in doing this, because it is just right to do that. But how much of that should the publishing company do as well?
The publishing company, depending on what type of package you have.
Okay.
Because everything is based on package. And the more the package, of course, the more of the level of exposure. Because really, when it comes to packages, you're only paying for how much exposure.
Oh, okay.
Let me give you an example. I have my lowest package. I will do everything for you: the ISBN, the barcode, the internal layout. I'll do the book cover. I'll put you on my website. But that's it. So everything else belongs to you. Then I have another package that most people go with, which is the medium package. It's still everything from A to Z, internal layout, ISBN, barcode, all those different things. But I put you on Amazon. I'm paying for those fees. I still put you on my website. I put you on Books in Print. Books in Print is a listing that people go to when they're looking for a book. Not only that, I market your book.
So
I put it in my catalog.
Resources.
I put it in my catalog, and my catalog is what I send out to other bookstores. See, people still gotta want your book. See, the only thing I can't do is guarantee you they're gonna sell.
Exactly.
But what I can do is guarantee you that I'm gonna put you out there.
Yeah.
Even when I go places, I have vendors. Those are the people I take the books with me, because I'm always marketing my publishing company. So when I market my publishing company, I'm marketing your book. But people who get the first package, I don't take their books with me because they're not paying for that service.
So it's up to the author to speak to the publishing company and have these conversations to find out what they're getting for their money.
Definitely. And be clear, and be very clear, have it spelled out, and understand what you're getting. Because I had one lady who went back and forth with another publishing company, and she was just so frustrated. I think a lot of it was in her own mind, just, not understanding. But she sent me the email conversation that went back, and I was so glad to see that. And one of the things I read was, this is how we make our money on the back end. And that's what people have to understand, is that when you get a low upfront, you have to understand, are you making it?
There's a hook somewhere.
I told this one girl, she came to me, she was like, what do you think? It's only $300. I said, let me tell you something. Publishing, you're not doing a flyer. Book publishing, there's a lot of work that goes into it. Another thing that some people do is, if you type it in a Word document, some people will print exactly what you give them. So it's no flavor. When it comes to internal layout, your internal design is just as important as your book cover. So what people look at is, the first thing they see is your book cover, because that's what attracts people.
Appealing. It has to be appealing.
Then they look at the back of the book. The back of the book is what people read to say, okay, what it's about. And before they ever look on the inside. But your internal book or internal layout is just as important as the inside, because you want to make it easy for the reader. I've seen books where when I opened it, I said, that looked like you did it yourself. No, seriously.
Yeah. And if you're going to spend the money, it needs to be done professionally.
And because as an author, you may not know all the details to the inside, but sometimes we try to save money. But just because you try to save money doesn't always mean you put out a good product. And this one particular book was an excellent book, but it was hard to read because of the layout. It was tight. And it was no flavor to it. And so I tell people all the time, if you're going to do it good.
All right. Well, what about the bio, the picture, all of those other things that are connected with the book?
bio about the author. You can put it in the back of the book if you want a full page of it.
And should you, as the author, write your own bio, or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You can write your own bio if you know someone who does stuff like that, but you don't have to outsource that service. You can write your own bio. If you have different businesses, I tell people, market yourself in your book. Put it in the back.
Yeah.
When it comes to pictures, get a quality picture. Get a professional. You don't have to pay a lot of money for a photo shoot. You can go to Walmart or those different type of stores, and all you have to do is let them know you want to make sure it's 300 DPI and print quality.
300 DPI and print quality.
Because there's a difference between website quality and print quality. Print quality is a higher resolution to make sure you have the sharpness. And then tell them you want it on disc. That means you can use these pictures all the time. So if you're going to put your picture on the book, please make sure it's a quality picture, and those same pictures you can start using everywhere. And I tell people, the moment you become an author, you're a business owner. Because you are the brand.
Yeah.
You as an author are the brand. You're the business owner. You market you. When you're a business owner, you get all the tax write-offs to having your own business. What's your business? I'm an author. I'm a speaker. And you never know what doors will be open to you as a result of writing a book. My speaking business started after my book was published. It was published in 2000, right? 2007 is when the book was released. And in 2007, the whole year, I had so many opportunities to just share your testimony, have a vendor table. But in 2008, I became everybody's guest speaker.
Wow.
And so my speaking business was birthed out of becoming an author.
So many things can happen from this one vehicle that
Sky's
if
the
you
limit.
just sit down and do it, can become a reality. Now, a lot of folks also wonder about how book tours come into the whole scheme of things. Is that something that the author should push themselves, or the publishing company helps?
As a business owner, you are the business. There are some people, that's the only business they have is an author. You have plenty of time. You start going places, you get your stuff out when it comes to, like libraries, when it comes to bookstores, when it comes to finding people. And that's why I say you got to talk your book, because you don't know who knows who. See, all you need is one opportunity. All you need is one connection, but we never know where that connection is going to be. And that's why we want to pray, believe God to lead us to the place where we need to be, because if he birthed it, he knows where he wants to take it. But we still have the responsibility of doing the legwork. So when it comes to book tours, that's about legwork. So as an author, you are the business person. If you have the time, some people don't have the time, and when you don't have the time, then you pay for a publicist. Then you pay for people to do things for you. But I encourage people to do things themselves first. Begin to believe in themselves to do it themselves. Because if not, you'll always put, I don't want to say your fate, but you'll always put everything into someone else's hands. And I believe whatever God birthed, he's equipped you to do whatever he's called you to do.
Well, there are so many questions that I have. It's such a good conversation, and I know time is just winding up, but we're living in a digital age, and so ebooks are very, very popular. Is that a way, should we go print? Should we go ebook? Should we go both?
Oh, you can go both.
What happens?
You can definitely go both. Ebook is, you have to let the publisher know up front you want ebook as well, because it is two different platforms, two different outputs.
Now, for those who don't know what an ebook is, please tell us what that is real
ebook
quick.
is where, now you can do ebook two ways. Ebook is, Amazon, you have Kindle, and it's where you can download your book in a digital form where people can read it on whatever apparatus they have. But you can also do ebook where you put it on your website or put it on the publisher's website,
and it's
offer it as an
downloadable?
ebook and download it as a PDF form.
I see.
Because my book, Tips and Strategies on Building Your Business, I teach that class, and as a result of teaching the class, I said I wanted a product, so I put it in a book form. But it's really an ebook. And I put it in the ebook, but I printed it too, because some people, when they see it, it's like, oh, I want that book. I sell it right on hand. And so Social media is very good. You know, you can tweet your book. Another way of getting your book really released, because when it comes to internet, because everything is about social media, the more you do, the more the search engine sees you. The less you do, the less the search engine sees you. And so I'll take my book, whether it's tips and strategies, or sometime I may take the one like my self-publishing class, and I just may do an excerpt. And I'll do a blog. So I'll do a blog. Don't give them everything, but I do a blog.
Just a taste, right?
Give them a taste to find out more. Get my book on XYZ. Always point them to a website. You can put it on Facebook. The thing about social media is everything links. You can do a blog and then upload it to share it to Facebook, share it to LinkedIn, share it to Twitter. And the more you do it, the more the search engine sees your name.
Now,
you
Karen,
never know who's looking at you.
Exactly, but you know, a lot of our folks are saying, "Oh my goodness, what's a tweet? What's a Twitter? What's a book that has a face? What has a face that is a book?" So,
That's
folks,
funny.
you have grandchildren and family and relatives who can do this for you. You don't necessarily have to do all of this yourself.
Negative.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you can get some help and some folks who are very social media savvy to be in your corner to put this stuff out there.
And you know, the thing about it is everything is not mandatory. See, these are all optional. So we don't have to put the pressure, oh my God, I got to do that. Because then if we feel pressure, we won't do anything. I tell people, you do what you can do and watch how things unfold. See, don't think B, C, D, E, F, G. Just think A. And when you do A, B will come. And a lot of us, the reason why we don't get started and we don't do is because we try to think of A, B, C, D, E, F, and we got every thought going on, how do I do this? And you haven't even started with the book part. You do that part, and once you get to A, B will open. And if I can just say this one thing, I always tell people about Get Smart. Do you remember Get Smart a long time ago, that TV show?
Yeah, sure.
Well, Get Smart in the beginning, he opened, you know, there was doors.
Right.
And I tell people there were many doors before he got to the actual, wherever he went into, the phone booth.
Right.
But the thing about Get Smart was he kept walking. That door didn't open until he got to the door. And he kept walking, and the next door didn't open until he got to it. See, there are many doors, but we have to keep walking and allow the doors to open. It wasn't that every door was open and all he had to do was walk. He had to keep moving. And so we don't have to think of every process. We just got to do this part and let the door open that's going to take us to the next part.
Man, this has been a great show, Karen. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
To tell us about this entire process. I hope that we have freed some minds out there and that you all are able to actually think forward and say, yes, I can become an author. Well, if you